reaching for the third bowl of cereal, we have to say, wait, am I hungry or am I sad? And if you're sad, who can I call? Maybe I can journal and purge, get out what I need to get out, just like writing it down, a verbal purge, not a physical purge. If you are sad, nothing shifts sadness as much as dancing. So put on your headphones, put on your favorite song, even if what you need right now is a good cry. Put on the song that's going to give you that cathartic cry. When we think of overeating, what we're really doing is physically and emotionally shoving down our feelings. We're putting in food to push everything down. What we need is to release. So crying, dancing, talking, writing, things that move it out of you, that bring it up out of you.
I'm Rachel Green, divorce mediator and collaborative attorney. Join me as I chat about everything from smoothly navigating your way through divorce to prenups, all the while keeping the kids in mind. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keep the Kids in Mind. This morning, we're doing something a little different. I'm very thrilled to have Brigitte Zeitlin as our guest. She is a celebrated women's nutrition coach and registered dietitian. She creates personalized real-life wellness plans and holds a master's in public health nutrition and worked at Mount Sinai Medical Center before opening her private practice, BZ Nutrition. She's going to talk to us about how people react when they're going through a stressful time, a stressful transition, such as a separation and divorce can be, and how we can find new ways and better ways to take care of ourselves during life stresses. Brigitte, so glad to have a chance to talk to you about this.
Rachel, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
So just to start, what drove you to this field, being a dietitian and nutritionist?
So initially, when I first graduated college, I went to Lehigh University, if there are any Mountain Hawks out there in your community. And I had gained weight in college, like so many of us do. I graduated, I moved into Manhattan, was getting ready to start my first job. I was in the fashion industry, and I was not comfortable in my body. I wanted to lose weight. I went to see a dietitian to help me do that. And she put me on a calorie count, which 100% worked. I absolutely lost the weight, but I was obsessed with calories. I was obsessed with numbers. It did not feel like a sustainable approach for me. I was too stressed out for it to really be wellness. And so I knew something had to give here. I loved how I looked. I didn't love how I felt.
So many people have that experience. You know, they say the freshman 10 and it goes on. And then you were working in the fashion industry as well. You must have just been thinking about how you look all the time.
Yes. I was in fashion PR and event planning. So it was a lot of, for me, it was more where I was in the fashion industry. It was more lifestyle. I was out really late at night. There was lots of alcohol. There was lots of wining and dining, clients, creating parties, creating events, creating big dinners, versus being with the models and working in like the clothes aspect. But figuring out how to be 20 something, living in an incredible brand new city and navigating such a vibrant social life, which was part of my work life, but and counting calories just didn't fit. I was skipping meals out with my friends so that I had enough calories to like drink later or be at a work event and I was like, this does not feel good. So I decided.
It doesn't sound healthy.
It was not.
Like, I guess choosing alcohol over nutrition calories
It was
is
not,
like
it was a typical 20-something move, right? I was in my 20s. So I decided to go back to school to become a registered dietitian, to get my own master's in nutrition and help people figure out how to realistically have the body they want without counting calories, without dieting, without restriction, right? How we can live our life while also taking really, really good care of our health and our well-being. That we can have our dream body without the stress of counting calories, without the stress of dieting. So I went back to school to do exactly that. and now I have my own private practice, and I'm loving it. I'm loving life.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
when you went back to school, it was like a 2 year, or how many
So
years? How
yeah,
many
it's
years
great.
extra did you
Oh my
have to take?
gosh. Oh my gosh, Rachel, so many years. So I was in undergrad, I was an English major. And to become a registered dietitian, you need, before the coursework, before you're admitted into an RD, registered dietitian program, it's really the prerequisites are pre-med prerequisites.
Right,
So
I would think, yeah.
so I did a full year like of a post baccalaureate program. So fall semester, spring semester, winter semester, summer semester, like a full year of
Yeah.
classes.
So that's like 2 years of
Yes,
college, right? Yeah.
exactly. And
And you
then
still had to take biology and chemistry and
exactly.
all those things
Exactly.
that,
Anatomy and physiology,
right.
biochemistry, all the pre-med juiciness. And then I went to school to become an RD, and that coursework, it's 2 years of classwork and then one full year of an internship in a hospital.
Why is your typical hospital food so nutritionless? Like they give you white bread and, you know,
It depends on why you're in the hospital. And there are different diets. So in my internship, I rotated through the cardiac unit, through the diabetic unit, through intensive care, right? All these different places. It depends on what diet. When I say the word diet, then it means two things. When I say the word diet, usually I just mean the foods that make up your life. In this instance, it means what like clinical diet your doctor prescribed for you. So if you are on the cardiac unit, you have heart health issues, or a history of heart health issues, you're going to be put on a low sodium diet. So your food is not going to have salt in it. It's not going to be cooked with salt. It's going to taste extremely bland. Right? If you have kidney issues and you're going to be put on a kidney diet, then you're going to get white bread, because whole wheat bread is high in a couple of nutrients that can inflame the kidney if you already have kidney disease.
oh, I see.
So it depends on what diet the physician ordered for you. And then when a dietitian comes into the room to talk to you, because we visit everybody, you can say, I don't know if I'm on the right diet for me. Can you double check?
What advice, if someone called you up and said, I mean, it sounds like you yourself have gone through a lot of experiences that have led you to this work. And then you've also been working with, I'm sure, people who are in all different kinds of circumstances. Has anybody ever come to you because they're in the middle of a stressful life change of like a divorce, or or something else, and said, I'm having huge challenges in my life and I'm not at my best, and then I feel like my approach to food is not helping, it's hurting me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will say life transitions, people come to me in life transitions for two different reasons usually. One, exactly what you just described. They know their eating habits have taken a hit, right? Whether their stress is making them undereat, right? They're forgetting to eat, or their stress is making them overeat. So they come to me when their eating habits are off. But another way that our stress affects our health and our appetite and the food choices and how we feel in our body is because our brain and our gut are so closely related. So when you're
Mm.
stressed out up here, you can get a lot of stomach issues. You could feel more constipated. You could be having lots of diarrhea. You can be bloated no matter what you eat. So most people don't understand that what's happening up in our brain affects our gut, but that will be one reason why people come to me like, Brigitte, I need help. Everything I eat is making me bloated, or I don't know why I'm always having stomach pains. I'm constantly constipated. So they'll come to me through that lens of physical issues because their body is physically responding to stress, or because their eating habits have taken a hit. Their workout routine has taken a hit. Their eating habits have taken a hit because of the stress themselves. So during big life transitions, both of these things are huge symptoms When your eating habits take a hit, or when your stomach is feeling off, those are big symptoms of, life is overwhelming right now.
So that's so interesting that there's like a brain gut connection. I never heard that before. And
Yeah,
like, can you say more about that? Like,
absolutely.
it's not intuitive, because your brain is up here and your gut is down here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of ways that it might show up that you would like resonate with it is, if you ever get butterflies in your stomach,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, what? I don't actually have butterflies in my stomach. What's going on? Right? So it could be because you're feeling anxious. Maybe you have butterflies in your stomach because you have to do a public speaking event. You have butterflies in your stomach because you're walking into a mediation and you're nervous. Right? You can like butterflies in your stomach are really a sign of you being anxious, you being your anxiety being high, which is up here,
Mm,
but we feel butterflies in our stomach. So that's how most people can connect those dots.
I see.
But also, if you are feeling nervous, maybe like, again, maybe you notice that you are running to the bathroom more often. Sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm peeing so much. That could be
Right,
a
right. Like
nervous
everything,
response.
if you're nervous, everything sort of speeds up.
Right. Yes. Right. I'm having diarrhea. Why am I having diarrhea? Those could all be.
I never really ask people that, but I guess in your line of
I
business, you
I
have to talk.
talk poop all the time. I talk poop all the time, all the time. But people will say,
That's a
um,
new one for this
yeah.
podcast. That could be the tagline. I asked you, my producer, Sunny, is it's gonna we talk poop all the time.
Everybody poops. It's a
Well,
classic book. It's a
classic
classic
book.
book. Everybody poops. But paying attention to when you have butterflies, and sometimes we think it's excitement. And it can
Mhm,
be. It can be, but that
mhm.
also comes from your brain. It's not like the butterflies in your stomach. The excitement isn't actually in your stomach. It's a
Right.
nervous
It's in your
system. It's
brain, right? It's
right. It's a
nervous
nervous system.
system.
So many people forget or don't necessarily think of is the fact that we're one physical being. So whatever is happening up here is going to affect everything,
Yeah.
right? Like we are all, it's connected. There's no way to tease it out. So it's important. And right, checking in with my clients always of how they're pooping, yes, but I'm always asking what their stress level is like, right? Whenever, because that is going to be indicative of how else they're feeling throughout their body.
So does Eastern medicine look at this a different way? I mean, of course it does, but is there more understanding of that connection than in Western medicine? Or I
Yes,
mean, you're working right at the connection, so maybe you feel like Western medicine also looks at it,
yeah,
but
I think Eastern medicine does have a more holistic approach, does have a more holistic background of looking at the whole being, of assessing everything together. I think when it comes to Western medicine, the way we have we have incredible physicians, we have incredible health care science, and novelty and delivery and healing going on. However, our doctors, they are specialized. So they're trained to talk to you about just what's going on with your heart, just what's going on with your cholesterol, right? Or if you're seeing an orthopedist, right? They're just going to talk to you about your bones. They are so segmented into their specialty that they siphon everything through that. So through that
yeah,
lens. So it's
right.
not necessarily that they forget or don't know or it's not taught, but it's just the lens. They are trained to heal you through their specific niche. Dietitians, for the most part, when you have a really good dietitian that's working with you, they look at everything because we're trained. We know that food affects everything. So we have a different angle, we have a different approach, we have a different lens that we come at healthcare through.
So what would you say to somebody who is getting divorced and his life is going along on this path and now suddenly just took a sharp turn and He's having trouble sleeping, and I don't know how he's eating. My guess is that he probably is going out with friends and drinking too much. I mean, what would you say to him if he came to you and said, what can I do to help myself to be as strong and resilient as possible during this transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is a super stressful time. It's also not a permanent time. So we want to think, we want to act now, but we also want to think forward, because whatever habits you fall into now, you will continue them. So if you're able to take really good care of yourself, and when you're super stressed out, then being able to take care of yourself when you're not, when life is hunky dory and it's the equivalent of lying on the beach, then that's going to be so simple and so easy. So I honestly think that creating healthier eating habits, or creating a wellness routine when you are stressed out, is actually a really good time. Most people are like, it's overwhelming. I'll get to it when I can, when things calm down, after the divorce is final, then I'll pay attention to myself. But by then your unhealthy habits are pretty solidified. So what I would say first and foremost is that, because obviously, I'm holistic, nutrition is a big, juicy piece of this puzzle, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. How you sleep, your sleep hygiene, your sleep routines is also really crucial. The amount of water you're drinking and taking in is also really, really important. So paying attention to your sleep and your hydration are key. See, look at you taking some water right now. That's my girl. But food is wholeheartedly self-care. It's one of the most accessible ways to take care of ourselves. It's one of the easiest ways, because just like everybody poops, everybody eats, right? So it is an essential way to practice self-care that people don't think of, but nutrition is self-care. So first and foremost, when it comes to just nutrition, making sure you are actually eating. A lot of times people are so stressed out that they'll skip meals, either intentionally or unintentionally. But if it's feeling hard to eat, set alarms on your phone, right? For breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Make sure that you are actually eating throughout the day. That will give your body nutrition, right? It gives your body vitamins, it gives your body minerals. And nutrition, vitamins and minerals, is what helps us build stress resiliency, right? We are more resilient through stressful times when we have certain nutrients in our body, like B vitamins, like magnesium, like potassium, like protein. We are more resilient in these stressful moments. So, yeah.
Would you have a diet that you would give people to follow, or do you talk more generally, like for breakfast you should lean toward these foods? And
It depends on the person's medical history and what their exact issue is, right? If they are overeating, if they are under eating, that what their baseline, and now when I use the word diet, I mean the foods that make up their life, what their baseline diet is when they first come to see me, exactly what foods I need to add in. But when it comes to eating consistently throughout the day, what I want every meal to have in it is a protein and a produce. So produce are fruits and vegetables. Proteins, they can be animal-based, eggs, fish, chicken, steak, any lean cut of animal protein, or it can be plant-based, lentils, edamame, tofu, nut butter. Your call, whatever fits your lifestyle and your food preferences. But every time you're eating, making sure you're having a protein and a produce is crucial for taking care of yourself, and building your stress resiliency through these tumultuous times.
oh, that's very elegant, simple.
Yeah.
Protein and a produce for
Yeah,
every meal.
let's keep it simple, sister.
Right.
We don't need
Yeah.
to overcomplicate. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And that was the thing too with calorie counting for me. I was keeping so much in my head. Being social, having friends, going away, spending time with my family, dealing with breakups and dating, and the idea of having to keep a tally of numbers constantly running in my head, it was unnecessary. And so what can I take off my client's plate? What can I, not literally, I want you to eat more, but mentally, what can I take off of your mental plate to make this so damn simple for you to take care of yourself? How can I make taking care of yourself so easy? And so a protein and a produce. That's all you have to think about.
Yeah. So now, I know, I myself have experienced stress that has like made it really hard to eat. Like it felt like there was a lump in my throat and the food couldn't even get past it. I would eat like a couple of bites and then I just was like, ugh, I can't, I like it. And then I've also experienced, the opposite of like overeating, like just feeling like I'm trying to not feel when I'm, having problems with binging.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've experienced both of those in my own life.
Yeah.
I mean, and I could see that my clients, I don't usually talk to them about their diets, but I definitely see people going through, a huge amount of stress, and I'm sure that they're having trouble. Like, what would you say to each of those
Yeah,
problems? Like,
absolutely. Well, I know that you are a deeply caring present mediator with all of your clients. So you could always check in with, I'm sure you do, but an easy way to check in with them is, how are you taking care of yourself? I see you're really stressed out. I know you're really stressed out. How are you taking care of yourself? And that will also remind them to take care of themselves,
yeah,
right? Like, just, so what I would say is that,
that's really great. That's one of my personal takeaways is I'm going to start asking people that.
yeah, good, good, because they need it. Sometimes, we also need to be reminded that people care about how we're feeling
Yeah,
too, especially in your line of work when it feels like, we're losing a love,
yeah,
right? Being reminded that there are other forms of love, and that it's going to come from other people, even your mediator,
right,
right?
right.
Even your
Oh,
attorney is going
right.
to
That's right.
can show you love. And it's just as
Mm,
simple as that.
yeah.
How are you taking care of yourself? So for the what you described as like a physical response,
Hmm.
there are lots of people who don't eat when they're stressed out, but don't have the same type of physical response that you have. So I'll talk about both of those, and then I'll talk about binging. So when it's a physical response like that, two things come to mind. First and foremost, can we meditate? A 10-minute guided meditation. So you and I've worked with a meditation coach. You know who she is. She's fabulous. But you can also, there are so many apps. The Calm app, Headspace, I think even Spotify now has some guided meditations. Do a 5 to 10 minute meditation, because the physical manifestation is a physical response to stress. So a way to kind of switch off the stress trigger and reduce your cortisol, the stress hormone, is to meditate. So meditate, and then give yourself a beat, something else, whatever is in your like self-care tool jar, so to speak. Maybe it's taking yourself on a walk and listening to a meditation while you're walking, or listening to your favorite podcast like this one, or music, right? Sometimes also just playing your favorite song and dancing for like the 3 minutes of that song. If you don't live alone, you can use headphones and just dance it out, and like behind closed doors in your bedroom or in your bathroom, but doing something to physically transition the stress. So dancing, walking, meditating. That will help with the physicality of it. And then paying attention to, so that's number one. Number two, eat what you want to eat. So if physical food feels tough to get down, maybe that means you need to be drinking more. So smoothies, soups, yogurt, oatmeal, things that don't feel as like, don't require chewing, that go down the throat a little bit easier. So feel into that, play around. If you are someone who is consciously or unconsciously restricting your food because you're stressed out, right? You don't eat when you're stressed out. That you have to think, I also still meditate, but you have to think of food a little bit like medicine. And sometimes we do. Sometimes food is joyful and fun and community building and right, like it's a fabulous activity to go out to dinner with your best friend. But sometimes we have to think of food as medicine
And you
because
just have to choke it down.
not totally not choke it down, but yeah, but get it down. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So thinking of food as medicine and that it's a way of you taking care of yourself. You wouldn't skip the penicillin if you needed it. You wouldn't skip the antibiotics if you needed it. And you need food. You need, again, because we need to build this stress resiliency. We need vitamins and minerals to help your nervous system do that from the
Yeah.
inside out.
So I really like what you said about trying to find a way almost to like interrupt the pattern, like by meditating, taking a walk, dance it out, and then, and then go back to the food again and say, okay, has anything shifted? Because this is something I need, like food being medicine.
Yeah.
I need to eat, and it's going to, help me muster the resources I need to cope with this. And, maybe not let me try again. Maybe now things have shifted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I hear so often with my friends who are parents, right, like they'll do anything for their kid. They'd die for their kid. They'll do anything for their kid. But you have to remind yourself you also have to live for your kids. Part of that is taking
Right.
care
And
of
you have to take
yourself.
care of yourself.
You have to
Right.
take care
And
of yourself to do that.
that is one of the hardest things for parents who are divorcing is when they're
Yeah.
with their kids and they're still very sad and they're trying to like be with their kid and enjoy the kid. And it's sad for the kid too.
Yeah.
And then, they have to like eat together and find
Yeah.
a way to, yeah.
Yeah. Something that could be part of this like new transition too is maybe depending on the age of your child at the time, maybe you start cooking together. You
Mm-hmm.
can build nice, good memories around, finding something fun to bake together, finding like letting your kid participate in dinner prep right. And like bringing them into the kitchen, creating a new ritual that you do together when they're with you. And it
That
can,
is beautiful.
oh, good.
And that's something like for both of them, like to say, we're both feeling sad, but we can, so let's do something fun tonight with dinner instead of just the usual. Let's cook something.
Right. Let's cook something together. Here are a few recipes I picked out. Which one sounds best to you?
Yeah, that's really, I love
So
that.
you've already narrowed down the recipe choice. You've picked something that is nourishing, right? A protein and a produce. And then your kid gets to choose which recipe you're going to do. And then you do it together. And it could be a really nice way of like again, like I said, building new rituals, building new routines together. And I think we want to always be conscious of our language around food and like improving our mood. So not saying like let's make ourselves feel better and cook something. Let's make ourselves feel better and go get some ice cream. But we can do that. We can, as the adult, we can know that that's our intention. But we don't want to make associations for our children when it comes to rewards and food, or self-soothing and food is not the association we want to make. So the soothing part is the parent and the child doing an activity together that's fun. The activity happens to be the cooking because it's going, as the adult, it's going to hit all of the needs that we have. But the self-soothing aspect is that we are doing something new and fun together. And then when it comes to binging, to the people who binge when they are stressed out and overeat when they're stressed out, what I will say is that is more common. That's the more common approach. Something my father has always said, and I quote him a lot, so I'm going to quote him here to you. But he's always said to me, not about this, but it relates to this, is we can't get enough of what we don't really want. So, right? So what we want is maybe a hug. What we want is not to feel stressed out, right? What we want is this moment in time to be over. But we don't want the food. We're not hungry, which is why we keep eating it, because we can't get enough of what we don't really want.
Right. I mean, I remember reading a book that said binging is like you have a cut and you're putting ice cream on it instead of a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Yes. What you want is a hug. What you want is connection. What you want is to feel seen. But the first point of that, the first point of entry when it comes to shifting this behavior is that self-awareness, right? Interrupting that habit, interrupting that train of thought. So
So
when you're
you need to also meditate for that.
always big fan of meditation. But when you notice yourself reaching for the third bowl of cereal, we have to say, wait, am I hungry or am I sad? And if you're sad, who can I call? Can I call my best friend? Is she still awake? What time is it? Maybe I can journal and just like purge, get out what I need to get out, just like writing it down, like a verbal purge, not a physical purge. And also, if you are sad, nothing shifts sadness as much as dancing. So put on your headphones, put on your favorite song and dance. Even if that song, even if what you need right now in this moment is a good cry, put on the song that's going to give you that cathartic cry. When we think of overeating, what we're really doing is we're like physically and emotionally shoving down our feelings. We're putting in food to push everything down because that's where food goes. It goes down. What we need is to release. So crying, dancing, talking, writing, things that move it out of you, that bring it up out of you. So put on a song, dance it out, cry it out, when you can disrupt it. When you and once you start to pay attention to, wait, when I'm feeling sad, I reach for the chocolate, or when I'm feeling sad, I reach for the cereal, whatever. The better you can connect those dots, the more self-awareness you have, the easier it will be to shift that habit. And if you are eating consistently throughout the day, you're having breakfast, you're having lunch, maybe you're having an afternoon snack, you're having dinner, then it shouldn't really be a hunger, because you're fueling your gas tank, right? You're fueling your gas tank consistently throughout the day. So that could be a really good way of this disruption to say, wait, I've eaten throughout the day. I'm not hungry. I'm not reaching for this third bowl of cereal because I'm hungry, because I had a delicious dinner. I had
two bowls of cereal.
And 2 bowls of cereal, right? So like, what is it? And so there's no way to move through any stressful time without self-awareness and without questioning your thought process. We have to do that. And meditation is a great way to do that. I also think dancing is a good way to do that, because dancing brings you back to your body. You feel very, very present and grounded in the moment that you're in when you're dancing, versus when you are up in your head replaying the mediation, replaying the last fight, replaying having to like go out there and start dating again. When you're up in your head, you're so far removed from where you are in your physical body. And dancing can like reset that a little bit.
Well, Brigitte, it's been a pleasure talking to you this morning. Thank you so much for coming on. Keep the kids in mind. And I think you're a wealth of wisdom. And we'll put your contact information in the show notes.
I'm thrilled to be here. Nutrition is self-care. The better you eat, the more consistently you eat a protein and a produce, the more stress resilient you'll be throughout this whole process. So nutrition is self-care. That's what I want you to take away. I've loved chatting with you, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me on. This is so fun.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.